Welcome back to SportSense. This is Cooper Epps, and I'm here with my dad,
James Epps.
And I'm also here.
It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
What up?
What?
I'm Casey. Your favorite coworker.
Oh, I see. Don't I see enough of you?
Every day, man.
Every time I hear Casey, I make Cooper explain, is this your brother Casey or KC?
But he keeps his sports stuff straight. We'll give him that. And
Most times.
so we're going to have a great conversation tonight. What we're starting here tonight, you listeners, is Casey is here tonight as a fellow sports noob. He's got about as many questions as I do, if not more. And so I think every other week we're going to start bringing in someone or multiple someones to come and test Dad's knowledge and patience, I'm sure. And
well, you answered my first question. I thought you brought in a ringer. I thought he's going to be more on my side on this. So,
James, can I just kind of give you my sports knowledge background?
Of course.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, good.
I'd love it.
All right. Well, when I was little, I would, my parents signed me up for all of the little league stuff. Like, I played a little bit of basketball, I played a little bit of baseball and some soccer. And so those are the sports I know the most about, which I don't know.
Wait, how late did you
anything.
play those sports?
All right, so I played basketball when it was in elementary school for sure. Same with soccer. Well, soccer might have been like preschool. And then baseball I actually played up through middle school. So, baseball, like I have a Boston Red Sox flag up here.
Okay.
That's because that's the team I followed up until like 9th grade. And
not bad.
Kind of dropped off.
Okay.
Did you? What happened after 9th grade? Did you move to a foreign country, third world country? I mean, I don't understand how you just drop off at 9th grade, but I'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of that is like, my dad wasn't really like involved in my life for like a long time, and typically fathers are who kind of educate you about the sports and stuff. So, but then also like a lot of my friends were more into like video production and photography and art and so which I know
we would have been fit right in with Cooper's posse. We called it Cooper's posse in middle school and high school.
He would have rolled down the driveway with Jackson and Kevin and
with tinted glasses,
the transition glasses.
The transition glasses.
Oh yeah.
You'd have fit right in with that crowd. They were great. Now they were really a bunch of great guys, but it was a little foreign to me. So that's why Cooper and I are doing this, because this was
my 16th birthday. Everybody does something big for their 16th birthday, and all I wanted to do was make a video with my friends, and we made a spoof of a nature documentary at the old Wake Forest golf club. Yeah, no, Casey had a very similar. He's also got some very awkward, embarrassing videos like I do from back then.
Oh yeah.
That's where you were developing, refining your creativity, getting those juices flowing. That's great. I am very impressed. Believe me. I think that's awesome.
It's also where I was losing interest in sports, and therefore I don't have things to talk about at church with all of the guys at church or in my neighborhood.
Well, you're perfect for this podcast, I think.
Look, my go-to question at church is like, "Hey, did you watch the game?" And if they say yeah, and they start going off about it, I'm like, mm-hmm. And then I just
the game.
Yeah, the game. That's around there. You might. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to say what game. There's a lot of games going on, but that's okay. Out there, it might be maybe they were thinking BYU or U of U. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a good stab in the dark to get someone talking. It's probably a good way to go about it.
It's dangerous too, though. That's throwing yourself right out there, because the follow-up is the concern. They say yes and they start talking about it, and then you go, I got to go.
Yeah. Maybe in this episode you could equip us with some questions that can help us continue in the lie a little bit. Like, did you hear, wasn't there a big trade or something that was going on? Like maybe there's some generic canned questions that we can have at the ready.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous area to fake it till you make it, because boy, you're going to walk right out there on that ridge and go, whoop, over the cliff. But anyway, let's jump. We'll give it a try tonight. We'll see how we can help you out.
Well, yeah,
Thank
why
you.
don't you start us off? I know you've got some recap stuff for us, Dad, and then we'd love to just ask you whatever questions stream of conscious come to mind after that.
Sounds good.
All right. So what do we miss?
Well, a couple things. One, I just got a quick recap from last week. You know, we said the Battle of, do you remember? See, I always do this to you. Do you remember the Battle of Pennsylvania? Remember you struggled with remembering?
Well, yeah. We talked about, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, Casey, but there's two NFL teams in Pennsylvania. Do you know what they are off the top of your head?
Listen,
So
he never
East and
even
West.
mentioned football in his
Yeah.
historic
So
sports.
Before I got on this call, I told Cooper football is actually the sport that I feel the least knowledgeable about.
Well, we're going to have a lot of football. All right, Coop, share with them
look,
what
if
you
you're a
learned
Mark
last
Wahlberg fan, at least if you're a Mark Wahlberg fan to any degree, you know about his movie he was in about football, about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh,
So we at
Well
least
done.
know them. Then on the other side of the state is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So anyways,
Nice.
okay.
I'm acting like I know all this, but my dad had to help me with that last week. So
You
I
did.
know a lot of people who are Steelers fans around
There
here.
you go.
My-
And they're
my
great.
uncles.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're hardcore. So that I told Cooper about 2/3 of the states are really the state of Pennsylvania is really Steeler fans because then it's the East Coast, that Philadelphia big city, and then they're nuts over there. But anyway, so Cooper had their big game, but it was okay. But the Eagles really handled them pretty reasonably well today. Beat them 27-13. So they handled them. You know, they get the pride of Pennsylvania now. The Eagles, fly, Eagles fly. That's their famous little slogan. But so we're going to give them that.
Well, what do you
So-
have to say about that? Was that an upset for you?
No,
'cause
no,
didn't you
no,
call
no.
the Steelers? I can't remember who you called.
I think I picked the Eagles because they have been, they're better. And Russell Wilson's been coming along, but the Eagles is just a better team. So anyway, it was a good game. I mean, those that love the game, it wasn't a lot of great games, but the game I've wanted to slip in, I didn't know if we'd even have a chance, but I got to tell you, because it just finished up a little while ago. And it was our team we've been following. So who's kind of the team that we said has become the new America's team?
Yeah, Detroit Lions.
God,
in fact,
I'm
Casey,
so
I
proud
don't.
of you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I will say, so I interned in Detroit and I've only been to one football game, one NFL football game, and it was a Detroit Lions game.
So that
How
was
How long ago?
It was in 2019.
19.
2019, yeah.
They lost it.
That's when we were both.
They sure did. They were playing the Patriots, and so they lost.
So, that reminds me of something I got to bring up later. Yeah, that's true. That's really cool. That's the NFL game you've been to.
Cooper,
So,
I already probably have what you're going to bring up later. I already probably have it. So
okay.
I guarantee great minds think alike. So anyway,
Yes.
so the Buffalo Bills played the Lions today, and it was crazy. And they were playing in Detroit, so been a better game.
Bills are doing pretty good right now as well, right?
Bills are doing great. And as far as I'm concerned, Josh Allen, the quarterback, is the MVP of the league, hands down.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
but
Okay.
they went after it. And it was if you like points scored, I love a great defensive battle. But if you want to see a run up and down, touchdown, that was it. And the Bills won 48-42. I mean, it was
Casey,
a shootout.
A touchdown is when they score in football.
He knows that. don't insult.
Yeah, I was so lost.
You shouldn't insult our guest right off the bat. But
That's true. I'm sorry.
But anyway, Josh Allen had another incredible. I mean, so Detroit had only lost one game prior to this.
Okay.
So they lost their second game, but they beat them. So it was a home game for Detroit, and that was a big deal. And and the Bills needed that win. They're doing great, but they want to make sure they secure a bye in the playoffs too. But Josh Allen to me is still the story. I mean, I love the Bills, but he is playing like Superman this year. So he had another 2 touchdowns passing, another 2 touchdowns running. He had a combined between passing and running. He had over like 430 yards worth of offense. Now,
Wow.
I love how Casey's going, wow, that's really good. It is really, that's mind blowing for one player to be responsible for that many yards. Anyway,
Yeah, because
so it was really cool.
a few weeks
What's
ago,
like-
you hit.
I was just gonna ask, what's your average yardage
Right. Okay. So he's
for
exactly
one
so,
player to have?
So most quarterbacks do mostly throwing. There's a few running quarterbacks in the NFL. So you have a running, but he does both exceptionally well. He's like 6'5", 255 or 6'4", 6'5", 255 pounds. It's crazy how he can run, but he's also an amazing passer. You know, he just throws beautiful ball. He's just a fierce competitor. So a great game, I think, for a quarterback it has a lot to do. We don't have time, but it has a lot of makeup. Like, what's the percentage of completion? Like if he hits 7 out of 10, that's pretty darn good. 70% or better is really great. 220 to 250 yards passing is really not a bad game. It's kind of a controlled game depending on your running game because they go together. So it depends how much the running back's getting the ball. Yep.
So when we're talking about completion stats too, like, or you're saying if he hits 7 out of 10 targets, meaning receivers, right? If the quarterback hits that, you're saying they also are catching 7 out of 10. Like it's also that stat is dependent on the receiver, 100%. Not just the quarterback literally throwing it where it needs to be thrown, right?
It's the receiver's responsibility to catch the ball, but he's got to put the ball where they can catch it, right? So, but a completion percentage is still put on the quarterback. There's a whole nother set of there's targets. There's all sorts of things for receivers too, right? Different anyway. So, but anyway,
this is the receivers.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. That's a great question you had. So anywhere in the 250 range is a good game. 280, anything over 300 is a heck of just passing. Well, he had, I think, roughly 340 passing and 350 passing and another 70 plus running the ball himself tonight. So by himself, he's well over 420, 430 yards, where a whole team would be happy with an entire game of, they'd be okay with 350 yards, 400 yards total offense. Passing, all running backs, but this is one player that had over 430.
That's pretty amazing.
Crazy. And that's the kind of season he's had. He's had so many multiple 4 and 5 and 6 touchdowns, either passing and running combination. So anyway,
remind me his name. What's this guy's name?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. Okay.
Yep. Guess where he played college?
I don't know. NC State?
Nope.
BYU? Anybody that we know?
Wyoming.
Let's see. Wyoming. That is weird.
I knew that'd get you.
What the
Pretty
heck?
cool, huh?
Okay. I don't know why I said BYU. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Is that because not a lot of players come out of Wyoming?
Well, not to that level, but there's some really good ones. But yeah, that's where he came
with a color scheme like that, you can't hope for much out of them.
I'm going to let that one sit. See, Cooper
the measure
can edit,
of a good team right there.
Cooper can edit himself. That's what I've learned on this stuff. He says what he wants and edits it out. All right. Anyway, I don't want to get hung up on that. That was my quick NFL. And the other big thing that happened Saturday night that I don't know if you paid attention to, annually before all the bowls and now the playoffs of college. So let's switch to college. The Heisman Trophy was awarded.
Yeah.
Right?
So I know there's drama there. There's big drama there. Did you see? I've even seen memes about that. Have you seen anything, Casey, about the Heisman winner?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what the Heisman is?
So actually, let's see if I even know this. Because I used to think it was just the best football player in college football, but is it the best quarterback, to be specific, in college football?
So you've kind of got the real gist of it. It's supposed to be the most valuable player in all of college football. Okay. It doesn't say what position. However, the most common by a long shot winner is our quarterbacks. Because basically, a quarterback touches the ball, except for punting, every snap, on the offense. So generally, and it's the high profile position. But there's been a few.
They get all the ladies, like all Now,
I'm not going to go that direction, but yeah, I'm sure that they're
quarterbacks are the hot stuff.
Okay, well, we're going to go
Heisman Trophy, the MVP of the year.
Usually a QB.
Gotcha.
All right. You got me, Casey. All right. Now, sometimes there's a running back. And then once in a blue moon, only a couple of times ever, there's a defensive back or a defensive player. Who won it, I don't think it's much controversy, just a little bit. But who won it is Travis Hunter for Colorado, because Travis Hunter starts on offense and he's a wide receiver. And he starts in one of the best defensive backs in the country. The man plays roughly 120 or 30 snaps per game. He plays both sides of the ball full time.
That is crazy.
Nobody
offense and defense. Okay.
Yeah. But the crazy part, not only does he play those and physically fit superhuman, but he's great on both sides of the ball. So he won it, and he kind of won it going away. The Boise State running back, Ashton Genty, however you say his name. He's going to be the top running back by far this year. And if you didn't have Travis Hunter playing, he'd win it going away as a running back. But Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that's what I saw online. So Ashton Genty, it looks like is his name.
Genty,
so
yeah.
I saw that he like scored a touchdown in a recent game or something and like did the Heisman Trophy pose.
Sure.
In the end zone to kind of make that statement that it should have been his or whatever, right?
Yeah, a lot of guys do that. That's just part of their celebration, but not that unique. If they kind of start doing it, especially, I don't know. That's just the way they're just having fun.
Okay.
A lot of them who are really
a question.
Good. Yes.
I have a question. Don't let your jaw drop too far to the floor. But what is the role of a running back?
That's a good question. So you're a quarterback, so you remember that one game you went to see? No, and I know it was very confusing, but you had a bunch of big guys on two different lines, right? Big guys on defensive line, big guys on offensive line. Behind the big guy, that's when the quarterback went up and stuck his hand under his butt. That's the quarterback. He's going to get the ball from the center. The running back's going to be standing behind him, behind the quarterback. Now, don't get, then we could get into shotgun snaps and all this other stuff. But this is when the quarterback goes up under the center. They call it go up under center, gets the ball. Now he has that running back. Now, that running back can do a lot of things, but the basics of a running back is the quarterback takes it back, backs up, and if it's a running play, he hands the ball off. So the running back starts coming up and he hands it off to whichever side is the play called. And he's looking for holes that his offensive line is making, or he's looking to run around the edge. But yeah, so he's to gain yards running the ball, where the alternative is quarterback goes back, probably fakes to the running back, and then throws the ball downfield. So you got to run play. Gotcha. That's your running back. You got to run play, and then you got to pass play to the receivers. Sometimes running backs can be receivers, but we don't muddle up your mind with that right now. But you asked the perfect question. What's his principal job? Principal job is get a handoff. It's called a handoff from the QB quarterback. And then he takes off running for his life, trying to score a touchdown.
Okay, cool.
Or gain a few yards.
Biggest educator on that was Street 2 on the PlayStation 2.
I figured this is where Cooper gets to video game talk too. So
yeah, that's a street football video game.
Street football. Yeah. I've never heard of it. There you go.
You can run on the walls and stuff, which there aren't really any walls to run on in NFL, I guess.
No, but there was a crazy arena football that was almost like that. I think you ever heard of arena football? It's a very low end professional football in the U.S. It's indoors arena. They do it.
Do they still play it?
It's only about 70 yards. Yeah, we still got some arena football teams, I think.
Cool.
And it's crazy.
It's kind of like indoor soccer, but
yeah. You bounce off walls. You got a big net. They got different rules. There's only 7 players.
Wow.
It's a high action, crazy game. So see.
Oh yeah, I see. There's a team called the Utah Blaze. Apparently.
Oh, I didn't realize they were okay. I have heard of the Utah Blaze.
Well, fun. All right, yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to go see one of those games.
Yeah,
tickets.
Tickets won't cost much. I can guarantee you. And that was low cost entertainment, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. All right. Well, good job. Now, so we don't want to overfill you with things, but we'll talk about. You join us later another time. We'll talk about positions, but just remember, there's 11 men on offense. Ultimately, we want to score a touchdown if possible or a field goal. 11 in defense. We want to stop them from doing it. That's really the basics.
Well, great. Yeah. Thanks for the recap and answering some of that. So, as we talked about last week, the college football playoffs are starting this next weekend. And so that's a big deal. I think that will take up a lot of our conversation for the rest of the episode.
Well, I got a couple things we want to squeeze in before that. Just quick. You're talking about talk around the cooler.
Okay. Oh yeah. Water cooler talk. That's what
the water cooler talk.
Yeah. What else should we know about this week?
Real quick. So what you were hinting at earlier, I'm sure. Let's see if our minds, if we really think alike, one of us is coming a long way. I don't know. So who's the new coach? Who's the new coach at University of North Carolina football?
Bill Belichick. Is that how you say his name?
Yes. And
so
who's KC, Bill Belichick? KC.
The reason it sparked it in our minds earlier is because you mentioned that you saw the Patriots in Detroit.
Uh-huh.
So Bill Belichick was like the legendary, even I knew his name, like coach of the Patriots for, I don't know, how many years, Dad? He coached Tom Brady for
20 years for over head coach.
Yeah.
He's coached.
Won a bunch of Super Bowls,
He is
right?
considered the greatest NFL coach of all time.
Crazy.
And Patriots, they finally separated after over 2 decades last year, and he didn't get hired last year. And it looked like the NFL, I won't get into all this, but NFL, they weren't going to hire him again. It looked like this year, which are crazy, but mostly because he is a totalitarian dictator. So he likes control over everything. I mean, he wants to be general manager.
Which is hard to work with.
Well, it's not even so much hard. You got to relinquish all power. He's going to be general manager. He's going to be head coach. He's going to everything. And I don't
guess that means everyone else's jobs are easy then, right?
Or they lose. They don't get to those levels with small egos, right? They don't want to give up their job. They don't want to give up their power. A lot of them. So anyway, crazy enough, he takes to Carolina. I mean, which is right down the street from us. Crazy that he went to college football. He's never coached college football in his life. However, tidbit, his father coached for a short period at UNC Chapel Hill. So Belichick, when he was a boy in the 50s, used to run around the field over there in the original stadium there. So it's kind of cool. He calls it coming home. So
yeah, I was gonna say, is that a reason that he might have gone there? Is just because of nostalgia?
I think this is a great area, and he liked the opportunity, and apparently they must have told him they had enough money in the NIL deals.
I guess so.
I guess so. All your Carolina fans, there's a couple in our family. I don't speak their names when we talk about Carolina fandom. Yeah. But there are, and they're excited and happy about it. But so that's pretty cool. The other thing I want to tell you that just really neat, if you want to have a tidbit to share, and it's a little obscure, but you got to once in a while pull this out. Did you hear about the referee at the beginning of a game? It's not a big profile game, so we would not have talked about it. This historical black college university is what the HBCU game, but it was they have a little bowl they have, but it's Jackson State versus South Carolina State. Well, the coolest thing, it's on video. You have to look it up. It's on ESPN, but he throws the flag. And he gets on his mic. The head umpire is one with the white hat, by the way. The white hat signifies he's the head ref umpire. If you look on white hat, look at the white hat, and you know he's the boss. He's the one that's on the mic. And he gets on there and he goes, before call the foul or whatever. And he stops. He said, and they had a large presence of veterans there that day, and Army personnel, military personnel. Anyways, I guess he's former military. He wanted to stop, and he said, I want to salute you this day. He stopped and gives a really great, really slow, perfect military salute. And then he goes, personal foul on number whatever. And he moved on with the game. It's a really cool clip. But he's really touching, actually. Very patriotic. I'd never seen that. I don't think it's ever been done. But that's my little tidbit for you this week. That you watch the video and you'll have something most people won't. All right.
Cool.
That's a good fact to drop at Christmas parties coming up soon, maybe.
Yeah.
What was that game? Did you say?
South Carolina State versus Jackson State. Like I said, it's only an 18-second clip or so on ESPN.
Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks for the deep cut tidbit. Okay. So we've got Genty being robbed of the Heisman. Supposedly, we've got UNC.
I don't think he's robbed. Just I want that on record. But,
right. Okay.
But I know that's the talk.
That's the talk. Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. And then UNC gets Bill Belichick, legendary NFL coach, as a coach. So some crazy news. And then of course we got the college football games coming up this weekend. So this is we have some mailbag. Maybe I should jump into mailbag, let's then this might inform some more questions from Casey and I. So you might have the same question, Casey, but your eldest child, Dad, my sister Ashton, maybe she doesn't want to be named, but sorry. She asks in her mailbag question, basically, how do downs work in football? I don't know if she's brought this up with you in person, but she seems very befuddled. She says, could you give the most dumbed down pre-K explanation of downs in football? And how
that's because she's
what
they are.
Can I try to answer this? And James, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's a great idea. Let's hear it.
Okay. I think I know this one. So down in football is when once the football hits the ground or someone gets tackled, Then what happens is a down in which the play clock stops and the teams huddle up. Do they huddle up? They
Most
huddle up. They
times,
make
yes,
the
most
play.
times.
Okay. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Right? Am I right?
You're exactly right. That's one down. That's a down, right?
It's basically a play.
That's one
like,
play. There you go. One
Yeah,
play
to
or
me,
one
the
down.
word down
But
is interchangeable with play.
Not exactly, but so let's back it up. So
Okay.
this is good. That's a great stab, and I'm very proud of you for trying.
Oh, thank you.
No, that is a down, and that is a down or a play in the sense. But so for Ashton's sake, and for apparently you guys, your length of the football field is 100 yards. Let's start with that.
Sounds so exasperated.
No, increment. No, I'm trying to be what Ashton's asked, and it's cut in 10-yard segments. Now you really can. It's really 100 segments if you look at the little yard things. But let's tell you the main lines across the field are 10 yards. So no matter when you start the game, you get 4 downs. It's called a series. Now you need to write that one down. 4 downs is a series, one series, 4 downs. So you have 4 downs to go 10 yards. Each time you go 10 yards, you get a new set of downs where you start first.
It's like a checkpoint. I think
10
like
yards,
part of
okay.
it.
That's good to know.
Yeah, like I think a big part of it is semantics. Like, so I have to translate it. So based on what you're saying, I'm hearing like that 10-yard mark is a checkpoint. You have 4 tries or 4 attempts to breach that checkpoint.
Right.
And if you get past that, then you reset your amount of tries that you get to meet the next checkpoint. Is that a way to translate that?
Yep. Reset it, you get 4 more downs. Now,
I've always wondered how they set those checkpoints up, because I always see, after they cross the checkpoint and get that first down, then they reset the checkpoint, and I'm like,
I love this checkpoint.
Why? Why do they put it there?
I've never heard of reference checkpoint. So it's really, really cool. You've added something to our lingo that I didn't come up with.
Yeah, there you go.
That's good. So the idea is realistically, you have 4 downs, you get at least 10 yards. What happens most times if you get a first down? Most times you went 15 yards, 20 yards. It's wherever that play or that down stops. And that's where, if it's beyond 10 yards, then the checkpoint, do you see guys, there's teams, they call it a chain gang. Chain gang, y'all heard that? It's the guys on the side, and the chain they hold is 10 yards. And so wherever that ball gets out of bounds, or wherever they stopped him on the down or the play, the one guy posts his flag, his stick right there, and the next guy stretches out 10 yards on down the field. And that's your new checkpoint, like you said. That's your next checkpoint. And so each time, that's why you always hear you hear them say, all right, 2nd down and 3. So what does that mean?
Yeah, because they're on their second try with 3 yards to go before they hit the checkpoint.
Perfect. So maybe Ashton can understand that. Great. How do you think we did?
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I really do think like semantics is just such a big thing, because just like every sport has their own language and vocab, and that's like the barrier of entry that makes it hard for people like us to jump into a conversation about it. If every sport was like, oh, they had this many tries left, all of us could jump right into that conversation so easily. Yeah. So I feel like part of it is almost like it's a way to say, hey, are you in the club or not? Can you speak the language? I feel like that's a lot of sports stuff.
I feel like that's a little conspiratorial, but now I think it just naturally happens when you develop these games. Think about the games you play, even board games and video games. You talk about a different language. Fair. My gosh, I barely can do Mario Kart with my grandsons, and I can't even do that very well.
3, 2, 1, go is a little tricky.
Yeah. So that's like, why do you think I chose that one that I might can do? But
anyway, no, you're good. I've seen you do Mario Kart. You're pretty good.
Ashton, that's a good question. So hopefully that, hopefully that gets her. But you know what she has to do, and she's my own daughter, I can say this. You got to spend more concentrated time watching the game to see how it happens, how it works. And listen, I think she gives very little time and attention.
Well, you're talking, if you're including her in this audience, you're talking to 3 ADHD ridden people. I haven't been on my medicine for a while, but maybe that's part of the problem. But
great question.
Yeah, I thought of a name for these episodes during all that. I think we're going to start calling these noobisodes just to give this a name and just so people know whether they should tune in or not to the episode.
See, Casey, this is what he does when we're talking sports. Do you see where his mind was? What else you got?
Well, we're waxing late, so let's wrap it up with just final thoughts and questions. And I'll hit you with this mailbag email from one of my closest friends out here, Zahid. Zahid's a big Oregon fan. Casey, since you're in the branding world with me, you might be more familiar with the Oregon Ducks because Phil Knight, who started Nike, came from there, and so they're like the favorite child of Nike and get the coolest uniform. Don't they get a unique uniform every game, Dad?
Every game. Helmet.
Crazy.
Everything.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah. So anyways, so Oregon, I like Oregon just from a branding perspective. They're just super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyways, they're also number one and the only undefeated college football team in the league right now going into the playoffs. And so anyways, Zahid writes in saying, "Hey guys, big fan here. Thanks Zahid. I had a couple questions. How is Oregon looking this year in the playoffs? It seems like for being the number one seed, they still have the toughest lineup to make it to the championship game," which that's a fair point because I thought that the top seed usually got kind of like an easier matchup at the beginning. So anyways, you'll have to give your, let's start with that. What are your thoughts there?
So this is the first time with 12 teams, right? And I'm looking at their bracket, and if they're going to play the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. That's why they're complaining a little bit, because the other games are like Boise State got a bye, and they're playing the winner of Penn State and SMU. I mean, that's a pretty sweetheart deal for Boise State. And the other matchup is Indiana Notre Dame. So Georgia gets that winner of that. So these are the teams with the byes. So, that's not a power, that's not near like, and then now Arizona State gets a bye, but they got to play Clemson or Texas. So that's legit.
Either of those are pretty daunting.
So I would say he's got a good point, fair point on Oregon having a little bit of they got a tougher road because if they, let's say Tennessee wins, whatever, they got to play Tennessee. Then the winner of that next game is going to be either they might have to play Texas, in their next game. So that is a tough road compared to
big matchup.
Yeah. So he's got a point, but at the same time, some of Oregon's schedule at times was weaker. I think that's what maybe made them test it. But who knows? They can't. This committee, they do some strange things sometimes. But he's got a good point. How they're looking, well, they're undefeated. We're going to see what they're made of when they get against the best teams in the country. I mean, I think they have I don't know. They've got a great chance to get to the semifinal. Okay, they got a great chance to win the next game, and then I just don't think they're going to win the national championship. So I'll say it right here. I don't know where they're going to lose, but I don't think they're going to win the national championship.
So yeah, Zahid, why don't you just go ahead and call a Wambulance and see if they can help you out? Because over here, SportSense official take, they are not making it to the end. That's our official stance.
They might make it, but they're not going to win. They're not going to win the championship. Okay. They might make the championship game.
That's my official stance. They're not even going to make it. They're not even going to make it to the semifinals. That's my take.
That's your friend there. So
just kidding. If I was writing a 5-paragraph essay about this, I would not have any supporting arguments for my middle 3 paragraphs. So I'm just trying to make them mad.
So good. So anyway, I know we have gone long, but we've got a lot of fun games to look forward to. So they start this weekend. Remember, so they start this weekend. So I think looking at this weekend, I've circled Tennessee versus Ohio State as probably the premier game. I would think next after that would be Clemson and Texas. That's going to be a fun one. SMU, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame. I mean, I love them all. You know me. I'll keep track of them all, but probably the biggest brand will be Tennessee, Ohio State. That's the big brand game of the weekend.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, this is just the new way the playoffs are set up. Which, Casey, this is the first year that they've had a 12-team bracket. Before this, it was 4 for a few years, and then before that, it was just 2. They just picked 2 championship players or teams to play. So we added that up last week to say that it essentially equates to 2 more big weekends of exciting football for football fans in a given year.
Yep.
So
it's great. I love it. I'm excited.
So basically, that for us, that means we're putting up with 2 more weeks of people yapping about football.
You're killing me, but I understand the premise of the show.
Just kidding. I'm a little excited. Okay. Zahid also said Hunter Genty. We already talked about this, but he did say, who do you think deserves the Heisman most? How do you feel about the winner? You kind of said that already.
Yeah, Hunter all the way. Yeah.
Just because he's playing both sides of the field. He's cooler.
He is I don't care about cooler. He is an absolute freak. You know how it takes for one man to play, for any of the starters to play every play on one side of the ball. That's crazy. Not even getting subbed. He literally plays both sides of the ball. He doesn't come off the field. That is as freakish and crazy as you'll ever see. And if the NFL is looking, they will draft him for either position, offense or defense. I mean, I don't know which one he's going to play. If he's a businessman, he'll play offense and receiver because
he can make more money off that.
They get paid so much more, and they probably have a little less, depending on little less contact in terms of multiple plays. Where on defense, he'll probably be in on most plays. He'll be hitting somebody, and these guys, cornerbacks and safeties, don't make near the money that the receivers do. But he can make more money.
He can make more money and be healthier because he's at less risk of injury.
More
offense.
Than likely, but either way, he could, yeah. But anyway, so we'll see. And he might play both ways a little bit. Who knows? Some team might at least have him on, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think there's any question. He is, he's just, and he plays for Prime, he plays for Prime in Colorado. Coach Prime. We've already gone over this.
You mean Deion Sanders? Oh, yes. Yeah. So what's Coach Prime? What do you mean by that?
That's his name. He marketed himself 40 years ago. He's prime time Deion. That's his. He was prime time. They call him
cool name.
They call him Coach Prime. They call him Coach Prime. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very cool. Thanks for writing in, friends and family. Please, send us more. We love to get Dad's hot takes. Well, I don't know. Yeah, Casey, do you have anything else you want to ask the old man before we head out?
I have so many questions, but I think it'll have to wait for another episode because
okay.
I'll write in.
No, and we'd love to have you back on anytime Cooper says it's okay. I'm just I'm not the man with he's the man with the plan and he has all the power. I'm just
I'm the Bill Belichick of this podcast.
That's it. I just do as I'm told.
Well, should we, do you have any trivia for this week, Dad?
I do.
Great. Okay.
I've got a Christmas season. This is for both of you. This is phone a friend to each other.
Great. And I'll give Casey the first go.
I'm even giving you the 4 names to choose from, but you probably don't know the date, but I know you both have seen it for sure. This is not sports related. This is the whole point, Casey. I do something in your world, either advertising or movies or something. So the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's the one that looks like claymation figures almost. It's the one you have.
I know it well.
Yeah, and I know Cooper's has seen it a million times.
Yeah, we grew up on that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer came out December 6th, 1964. So I was 4 years old. Now, then it's near.
Whoa. No, just kidding. Sorry.
At least you were. I was alive. That's the sad part. That's the crazy part. So the narration, which a lot of these originals that came out from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, a lot of the narration was the key. Who did they get to narrate it? Because you just love their voices. They were storytellers. In fact, the 4 names I'm going to give you were really kind of famous storytellers that all did pretty famous, popular movies in these 50s and 60s, early on. All right, so the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the narrator was named. I'm going to give you 4 names. You get to pick.
Okay.
1, Gene Autry. 2, Burl Ives. 3, Dean Martin. 4, Jimmy Durante.
Good grief. You really are cutting deep tonight.
Yeah, you got tired of giving those easy. Well, I thought it was perfectly seasonal, right? I wanted to get in the mood.
Good Christmas one. Good.
I just watched this with my 3-year-old too.
No way.
And I should have looked at the credits.
So we got Gene Autry, Burl Ives, Dean Martin, and Jimmy Durante.
So I only even know one of those names.
Really?
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Casey?
Number 3,
that's Dean Martin.
Dean Martin.
What do you got, Coop?
He's the only one I know on that list, so I would go with that.
God, y'all don't. No, it's Burl Ives. Now
Wow.
I think when you have children, Casey, look up anything Burl Ives does. You'll find audio of him telling stories. He is so cool. His
Wait,
voice
did they
is so
model
cool.
this? Because he looks like one of the characters in that claymation.
He does.
Those
He looks like
claymations.
the snowman, the old snowman guy.
Yes, yeah. And he is the
Yeah.
snowman character, right?
To me, he's the original man I ever saw with a goatee that looks so cool in life.
He does look
in
good
real
with
life.
it.
Burl
He
Ives,
does look
yeah.
cool.
So, but look up his stories and play them to your kids. And I mean, his voice there's something. I mean, you guys are into this so much more than I am, but his voice transcends something. I don't know what it is, but they didn't used to tweak it or make anything. You know, it was what it was. His voice was what it was.
Well, Burl Ives, very cool.
Yeah.
I never watched
Cool.
the credits when watching that as a kid, so never knew his name. But that's
Well,
very
y'all
cool.
try it out and let me know what you find out about. I think you'll enjoy him.
Okay,
Yeah,
look up
that's
some
awesome.
Burl Ives. Well, let me give you one, Dad.
All right. I'm on an 0 for streak. I keep doing it too late at night. I swear my brain is half dead. Okay,
I
give it to me.
know this time difference is tough. On
I
us,
told
but-
you how bad. I told you how bad it hurt me with Sanchez last week. I told you
Yeah,
I could see him. I could see the play. I knew it was New York Jets, and I just could not pull his name out. All right, let's try
Dad
again.
was texting me midweek saying, "I'm watching. What show is
I was
he on?"
listening. Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, listening to
The
Colin
Herd.
Cowherd and listening to Dean Sanchez, and you were just hurting.
Mark Sanchez.
Mark
That's
Sanchez.
close.
I got Dean Martin still on the brain.
You're trying to screw. You're trying to screw with me now. I
Yeah.
know.
Okay, well, here we go. Just a quickie for you. Which
right.
player caught Tom Brady's first NFL touchdown pass?
My gosh.
That's like give you a tough one right back.
You give me a crazy tough one. I'm just trying to think who would even be a receiver back then.
Do you want? I can give you the four. I can give you four options since you gave.
Yeah,
us four
give me
options.
4 options.
All right.
That'd be fair.
That's only
Especially-
fair.
That's only fair with 20 years. Oh, golly, yeah. Okay. I'm ready.
Bert Emanuel, Charles Johnson, Terry Glenn, or David Patton.
Oh, it's one of the last two. Terry Glenn.
Nice job. All right. Well, you did have multiple choice, but you got it.
Oh, well, thanks. Good gosh. You're talking about 22 years ago, his first pass ever. It's either him or David Patton. Patton was a little later, but holy, I'm taking that as a good win. I feel like I'm back on track.
I know I'm being tough on you. That was
yeah,
good.
you are
That was
being
good.
tough. I mean, but the two of them are old. The first two, they're old. I don't know who they were. I've heard them a little bit, but they weren't any modern era
That's
that
funny.
I knew. If they were,
I
they weren't impactful. But Patton was and Glenn was. All right, that made me feel good. I'll sleep better tonight.
Good. Yeah. You can rest on those laurels for this week. But okay, well, before we send off Casey, Dad, do you have any parting words of wisdom for a budding sports fan like him?
Well, I think that's the question. Are you really a budding sports fan? I mean, motivation is key. This is really key. Motivation is key. How bad do you really want to know anything? So I think, you say you have a young son? Is a son? It doesn't matter if son or daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You start having children. And what I have found, I think it's neat. I think you're going to be able to open that for your son. I mean, I would try to keep exposing them to different things from sports, but especially your world of creativity, creation. But guess what? My opinion is he's going to be who he's going to be. And it'll be interesting to see, because you see in our family, I mean, really, we have 6 children. Honestly, of the 6, half only care about sports. The other half, Cooper leads the way. He's the flag bearer of that group. But and the other 2, interesting enough, especially his oldest sister, Ashton, is very creative. She's a creative by nature. She's got the ADD. She is. And sports, she was good in sports.
She got the ADD.
Hey, she played high school basketball. I mean, she was athletic. Cooper's plenty athletic. His younger sister, she was athletic. But the problem is she cared about humanity way more than she did to compete. I mean, I used to coach all my children, and nothing drove me nuts with my youngest daughter. We played church ball, right? You know, I mean, my girls in North Carolina, it's killer ball, man. And I'm sitting there coaching them, and I had to be kind of good because I was in a leadership position, but I was still pretty competitive. But my daughter would steal the ball, and the girl would fall. Instead of steal, go down, make the layup, and come back and check on the girl, she stops the play, puts the ball down, helps the girl up. Are you okay? And the clock, nothing stops. Somebody else takes the ball and they go score. And I used to go nuts and my daughter just said, no, I had to make sure she's okay. I thought I hurt her. I go, I said, yeah, you check her after you make the
Very
layup. So what I'm saying is, I don't know how many children you are blessed with or Cooper's blessed with. They'll find their own way, right? They'll find their own path. And I found it interesting. And you said that about not a father. My father was so busy, honestly. Later in life, he loved watching sports, but he grew up in the Depression in a fatherless home, and he had to do a lot from the time he was really little. He never had opportunity to play any sports. He loved to watch it when he retired. My mother is the one who probably taught me a lot more about sports. And I had 2 older brothers who loved sports. But my mother was the sports. She was sports nut. I mean, she's the one that got the passion, I think, in watching sports. And back in the day, we'd watch ACC basketball as our conference. My mother was the oddest sports fan I've ever seen in terms of basketball in college. She liked players. So I remember growing up and seeing her cheer for, like, there's a guy named Kenny Denard at Duke. He was called, everybody else said he's a dirty player. And my mother would say, oh, I love Kenny. I love Kenny. He's just so tough and good. And then there'll be somebody else on another team. She didn't like teams or universities. She liked players, but she would watch them all the time when we could. So that's where I grew up with that passion watching. And then she was a Redskins fan. Back in the day, they were called Redskins because they lived in Northern Virginia for a couple of years. And she got hooked on the Redskins. And in North Carolina, this is how old I am, that was the only team they would show on Sunday. And that's the only professional football team we got. So most people are Redskins fans around North Carolina when I grew up. But my mother had the passion. So you never know in a family. You got to let them and support them. And you know, I mean, I coached Cooper playing rollerblade hockey. What is that? I was trying. I mean, that was love. But so awesome. I don't have any advice other than expose them to different things and have fun doing it.
Cool. Well, yeah, just listening to you talk about it and how excited you get about sports. It's really cool to just see that, like, you love the sport itself, whether or not it's your favorite team. And so, it's really cool.
Well, for me, it is. I really do think it's one of the great laboratories for learning. I really do. For those that love it, and it keeps a lot of kids out of trouble who come from broken homes. It has a whole nother mission as far as I've coached, dozens and dozens and dozens of teams. I'm still coaching. I'm coaching grandsons now. And there's so much value in it. There's that camaraderie of team. There's just so much. I mean, I'm passionate about it for more than just the competition, but it is such a developmental blessing in the lives of so many kids, especially when they don't have a direction or have a great example in their home. It's coaches have saved the lives of many a kid in this country. I can promise you that. And if you'll hear some, when they get to high levels, sometimes they'll say, they'll still bring their junior high coach or high school coach to a Super Bowl or something. They say, oh yeah, this man changed my life, or boys and girls club coaches, right? They do so much in teaching. Anyway, so that's the other layer to it that runs a lot deeper than the competition for me.
Cool. Yeah, cool. When I married my wife, her family was a lot like that.
It is one of the great bonding tools, I think, too, for families and kids. I've got one son particularly who he talked all the way to age 13, and then he'd shut up. He quit talking to us. So the only way I could get him to talk is go in the backyard every Sunday evening, and he practices long snapping. And we play sports, or we do. Then the conversation would talk about team. Sometimes it's all you got, because sometimes some teenagers just don't want to talk. They don't want to be close to you in those sense. So sports was a big one for me. Now that's why I had to stretch with Cooper. So we had to find other ways. But Cooper's different. He was still very conversant. He wanted to talk. Thank goodness he had his mother, because
Chatty Cathy.
I didn't do as good a job, talking on the emotional level for Cooper. I'm sure that he needed. He has a great mother who delivered, thankfully, for him.
Yeah, it wasn't like I was always trying to cry on your shoulder or anything.
No, I didn't know how to relate as well. That's all on some things.
Well, yeah, it's been really fun to bond with you in this way over sports.
That's awesome.
Well, that was great. I think the message here tonight is nerds, sign up your kids for sports. And with that, Dad, Casey, thanks so much for joining me tonight. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Casey. All right, see you, Coop.
SportSense.